Hey guys, Captain Dylan Hubbard here at Hubbard's Marina, and it's time. I forgot my hat, I just realized. But it is time for that live stream show. Hopefully, you guys are ready for a live stream show as well. It's all right. We already started. It is what it is. There's the hat. So hopefully you guys are ready for a great show. It's definitely another beautiful Sunday night here inside Johns Pass Village at Hubbard's Marina, and we're ready for another live stream show. We are going to be talking fishing and answering your questions live and giving away free stuff. So hopefully you're ready for a good time every Sunday night right here on the Hubbard's Marina live stream show. We do the same thing. Give away lots of free stuff, give away lots of free tips, tricks, and more, and go over techniques, weather, and give you all the insights possible. Last 2 weeks, we've had guests on the show. Tonight, I wanted to rock it solo for a specific reason. We're going to talk about a little later in the show. Got some very, very interesting stuff coming up. So you don't want to miss out on tonight's show. And it's one of those shows that potentially gonna get a little spicy meatball, you know. So stay tuned. And then also want to make sure we give a shout out to our friends over there at Gator Jim's Tackle. If you haven't stopped by and seen them yet, make sure you do so. 3301 Pinellas Point Drive South in St. Pete. Stop by and tell them Hubbard's Marina sent you. You get a free gift. It's a really, really cool shop. Killer deals. Absolutely insane specials. Just floor-to-ceiling inventory. It's crazy over there. Super knowledgeable staff. Really good people. So stop by, see our friends at Gator Jim's Tackle. Also want to give a shout-out to all of our supporters out there in our supporters group. Super, super helpful. Super motivating. And really appreciate each and every one of you for helping to fuel and make this live show possible. Really can't say enough about our supporters group and all the help and support they provide. Also, if you're a supporter, don't forget about our supporters after show. We're always going to be talking more about what's going on, what's coming up, giving you some behind the scenes info and more connectivity. So stay tuned for our supporters only after show as well. So also want to make sure we give a shout out to those who are sending stars. We got started off strong by our friend Jim Evans. Scott Flynn with the big 300. Thank you, Scott. Richard Blazak, Yukimi Barker, James McCullum, Keith White, Sean Gossier with the big 1200. What's up, my buddy? Good to see you this morning, getting back from that 39-hour with the fam, so it's pretty awesome. Robert Bush, appreciate you, man. Jason Michael, Sam Lang with a big 490, appreciate you, brother. Richard Bedwell with the big 500, thank you. Adam Franklin with the big 1,000, thank you, Adam. What's up, Nick Nieves and Ryan Kelly, too. Appreciate all of you guys sending stars and helping to fuel the show and make it possible, along with our supporters group, of course. So, with that, we talked about our friends at Gator Gyms, our supporters, and the stars. It's time to make sure you know how to win some free trips. You want to win some free stuff tonight? Do you like free fishing trips? Do you want free Hubbard's Marina swag? Definitely make sure you tune in live for the show, watch the whole show live, and then comment at least one time during the Hubbard's Marina Facebook live stream. So you have to go to the Hubbard's Marina Facebook page, comment once, and that enters you for a chance to win. But you have to watch live in order to be an eligible winner, because if you're picked as one of the lucky winners, you got 5 minutes or less to text us at that phone number at the bottom of the screen to prove you're watching live. So make sure you watch live. Make sure you comment once and then text us if you're picked as one of the lucky winners during the show. So we got a 5-hour half day to give away for 2 guests. We got a 10-hour all day for 2 guests we're giving away, and a 39-hour trip for 1 lucky winner, plus our Hubbard's Marina swag pack 2. So lots of stuff to give away tonight and lots of good things to talk about as well. So besides that, we have some events coming up, some big events coming up. We have Final Friday, October. I don't know why I said October. We have Final Friday, August 25th We also have our Bass Pro Shop seminar. Our next Bass Pro Shops in-person event is August 27th. So at the end of this month, we have Final Friday, and then that same weekend, we have Bass Pro Shop. So lots of good opportunities to join us this last upcoming weekend in August. Again, Friday for Final Friday, and then Sunday for that special Bass Pro Shops event. Then besides that, we're going to show you some photos and talk about what we're catching now. Then we're going to get into the weather. Then we're going to get into your questions and end the show with that little spicy announcement that we have coming up this week. Lots of things proverbially hitting the fan that we want to kind of talk about briefly. So stay tuned. First things first, what are we catching? What's going on? Who's catching what? I wonder. Let's go into the photos from this week. So first of all, we're going to start inshore, and then we'll work our way near shore and offshore and show you guys what's going on now, what's coming up, and more. So inshore, seeing some flounder. The flounder bite has picked up pretty good. We're seeing a lot of flounder around those back protected bay waters, those little sandy patches, those little potholes, those sandy areas adjacent to structures like docks or bridges. Good idea to target the flounder in those locations. I couldn't take it anymore. I had to put on the hat. Flounder love the little slow-moving soft plastics along the bottom. They also love some live little creek minnows, creek chubs, or live shrimp. All good options for those flounder right on or just above the bottom. Those flounder lay flat on the bottom and ambush passing bait, so you got to have your bait either on or just above the bottom. Trout bite's been going well, especially early morning up on the flats early in the day. Once the water starts warming up, they start pushing out into deeper water, deeper edges a little bit. Definitely better areas to find those trout. We're seeing some nice snook in the deeper passes along those artificial reefs, wrecks along the near shore waters, out on the beaches, and then some deeper areas along the bay during the heat of the day. If you get out there early morning around sunrise, you can definitely have a good shot for those snook around the flats and mangroves, but a little bit tricky unless you catch it early before that sun gets up too high. We're seeing some of the tarpon around still, quite a few tarpon around still. Really some suspiciously good numbers of tarpon around still. Bay Area bridges, some really good numbers. Even around Johns Pass, we're seeing some nice tarpon. Redfish around the dock lights, bridge lights lately. We're coming up on that new moon, so that should get even better too. We're seeing some of those snook in that back protected bay water. This one is definitely pretty high up there in the bay. Seeing some nice snook action. You can tell by how dark that snook is, just how close to that freshwater outflow it was. Definitely further back up in the bay. We're seeing some of those redfish up there too. Redfish bite's been a little bit more tricky. You have to work for them a little bit and kind of find the area. But once you find them, you can stay on them pretty good lately. Just all about getting out there early or around dusk, trying to find those more actively feeding redfish. During the heat of the day, they're tucked up underneath the mangroves, underneath docks. They're looking for reprieve from the heat, just like you and I, looking for that shade. Seeing some of the trout around dock lights and bridge lights too. Definitely a good time to be night fishing. Avoid the heat and definitely find a little bit more activity in those predatory fish. Seeing a lot of good inshore fishing right now. Just really, really important to catch the tides. That water has to be moving. It is so hot, so stagnant. You really got to catch that good outflowing or inflowing tide. Water volume moving around is going to keep that fishing a little bit more active and a little bit better on the inshore side of things. Now, making our way near shore and offshore, definitely seeing some good action on a variety of species. The red grouper are still coming up, unfortunately, but we're tossing these red grouper back. We are catching some nice cobia occasionally, not a ton of them, but you never know, one might swim up and roll up on us, so we've been prepared. We've seen a couple keeper amberjacks even on the 10-hour, which is not something we really target or go after with all that much effort, just because catching a keeper amberjack on a 10-hour is one of those things that's going to be tough to do. But we have caught a handful here and there, mostly on the 10-hour, focused on those lane snapper, mangrove snapper, vermilions, porgies. We're seeing a few almacos and then plenty of the other heads and tails. You might see a red snapper. You might see an amberjack, but it's not something we really target or go after hard on a 10-hour. So here's a nice example of a near-shore lane snapper from a recent private charter. We've been seeing some nice mutton snapper. Look at that beautiful big mutton snapper. We've been seeing quite a few of those beautiful muttons. Some big fat red snapper too. The red snapper bite has been consistent, and we're still finding the red snapper, and we still got lots of red snapper season left. We have 6 more 39-hour trips and plentiful more 12-hour extreme trips before that red snapper season ends. We're throwing back the gags and the red grouper, but we've got scamp grouper to go after. We got those muttons. We're seeing some yellowtails, plenty of big vermilions, mangroves. We're seeing the occasional cobia, the occasional blackfin tuna. Triggerfish has opened. Today's 12-hour extreme trip caught a ton of big triggerfish. We got some really nice red snapper numbers. So a really good all-around bite on the 12-hour extreme trip with a few nice scamp grouper mixed in as well. So good opportunities to get out there and capitalize on lighter loads as well. We're seeing a lot of lighter load trips right now because red snapper season has gone on so long. The demand has definitely died down quite a bit. So due to that, we're seeing a lot more opportunities. For example, today's 39-hour trip left the dock with 21 fishermen. That's right. You heard me right. 21 fishermen. Wednesday's 12-hour extreme has 7 fishermen on it right now. So super light loads on the 12-hour extreme trips. On the 39-hour trips, really good opportunities to get out there and capitalize on good fishing, lighter loads, and plenty of ample opportunities to catch tons of species. Remember, amberjack's open, triggerfish open. Everything is open right now except for gags and red grouper. So there's a ton of fish to go out there and catch and have a good time doing it. And there's less people on the boat right now too. So good opportunities all the way around. We've got a 39-hour trip coming up a week from today. It's got like 15 people on it. We have a couple 12-hour extreme trips left before red snapper season ends with just a handful of people on those too. So really good opportunities to get out there and capitalize on some good fishing and lighter loads. With that, it's time to talk a little bit about some weather and show you guys what's going on in the world of weather. But before we do, we want to make sure we give a shout out to some of our friends who have been sending stars while we were talking weather and what we were catching out there. So Ryan Kelly, appreciate those stars, my friend. Todd Stutzman, thank you very much. Tony Barnes with the big 500 stars. Thank you, Tony. Larry White with the big 500 as well. Jasmine Marie with 100. Appreciate you. Michelle Stabile. Jason Michael with the big 300. Barry Long with 200. LaShonda Brown with 200. Thank you. Phil Batisto as well. And then Nick Nieves with a big 1,200 and then 1,150. Happy birthday, Sunshine Skyway Fishing Page, Nick said. That's pretty awesome, my friend. I think it was like 12 years the Sunshine Skyway Fishing Page has been a thing. So pretty cool. Congratulations on that. Louis Canaveri, appreciate those 500 stars, my brother. Thank you very much. So let's get into some weather and show you guys what we're catching weather-wise this week. Weather-wise, we're going to pop over to hubbardsmarina.com, click fishing trips, scroll down to the weather links page. We're going to pop over here to the left side and go to the wind finder. Let's start offshore, 12, 39, 44-hour areas. Look at that, gorgeous. If you caught our Saturday morning Real Animals radio show, we were a little concerned about some weekend weather. A week from today, basically, it was going to pop up here, puff up here. But looks like we don't have much going on weather-wise this upcoming weekend. So some nice moderate winds all the way through the week, and not much wave action, not much wind action, just hot weather. So hot weather, hot bites, light loads. That is the trend. So definitely good opportunities. Like I said, just a handful of people on our 12-hour extreme trips, handful of people on our 10-hour trips, handful of people on our 12-hour night trips. Our last 12-hour night had 24 people or 23 people on it. 39-hour trips have 20, 25, 30 people on them. Extreme trips have 7, 8, 9 people on them. So light loads, hot weather, and good fishing. As long as you've been able to get out there pretty deep, we've been doing pretty darn good. And weather looks like it's going to let us get out there deep, inshore, near shore, and offshore. Weather's looking good. Basically, moderate winds, moderate seas, just a high chance of strong heat is basically what we have to concern ourselves with. So not too bad in the grand scheme of things weather-wise, and pretty excited about that, and hopefully you are as well. Let's see, Nancy Colgan, appreciate those stars. Richard Arthur Harcourt with a big 250, appreciate you, my friend. George Afterburn as well. Thank you all for the stars. So weather looks good. Fishing is good. It's a good time to get out there on the water with lighter loads. We got those good events coming up. Again, August 25th, final Friday, August 27th, Bass Pro Shops. Hopefully we'll see you out for both of those events as well. With that, we've talked weather. We've talked fishing. It's time to give away a free trip and then get into your questions. Hopefully you have some questions for us. If you do have some questions, remember you can drop them at the phone number below. You can text us your questions. If you want your question answered live during the show, you do have to text us your question in order for us to make sure that we see it, because those comments go by really fast. We don't always see your comment. So first thing we're going to give away tonight, let's go ahead and kick it off with the swag pack. We don't do that often. So we're going to kick it off with the swag pack. Remember, if you're the lucky winner, you have to send us your t-shirt size and your home address. So let's see who won the swag pack. Lucky winner is Chris Bass from Ohio. Congratulations, my friend. Chris Bass from Ohio, you won the Hubbard's Marina swag pack. So make sure you send us your full home address and your t-shirt side, and then t-shirt size, and then we'll send you out your lucky winnings. So congrats on that. George Afterburn, Jim Evans, appreciate those stars as well. Thank you guys very much for the stars tonight. Jason Richmond, what's up, brother? Appreciate those 150 stars on Facebook. For those watching on Twitch, on Trovo, on YouTube, on TikTok, the stars are just a way for folks watching on Facebook to show their support and kind of send a gift that helps support the show. So that's what the stars are if you're watching on YouTube, Trovo, Twitch, or TikTok. So with that, let's get into some questions and talk a little bit about what you guys want to talk about. Let's see what y'all want to chat about. And let's see if you guys have any questions for me. Remember, if you have a question, text it into the phone number at the bottom of the screen. Also, while we're waiting for the questions to get pulled up, stay tuned this week. We're going to be live with Fox 13 twice this week. If you've heard of the Fitness Corner, Tony Sudoku. I got to learn how to pronounce his name before he interviews me Tuesday. Sudoku, I think. Tony Sudoku. I'm going to go with that. He does this little fitness corner on Fox 13's, I think it's a part of the afternoon programming on Fox 13. It airs around 4 o'clock, I believe. And we are going to do a segment together, and he's going to do a little segment story on fitness and myself. So it'll be pretty interesting. I'm a little nervous, but hey, it is what it is. I'm comfortable on TV talking about fishing. Talking about fitness is not something I'm used to talking about on TV, so we'll see how that goes, but stay tuned because it'll be entertaining for sure. And we'll put that up on our website as well. If you haven't checked it out yet, the Captain Dylan Hubbard website has the blog post where I kind of outline everything we're doing on the fitness side of things. So some people asked, especially after the Charlie Belcher interview, if you pop over to CaptainDylanHubbard.com, right on the main website page, the home page, you can scroll down, you can see the most recent fishing reports, and then you can see that most recent blog post as well. And that has the secrets, basically everything that I've been doing, kind of my plan, all laid out there. And so Tony is going to come from Fox 13. We're going to talk more in depth about that as well. So I'm excited. And Jim Evans, that's pretty funny. Said fitness whole deer in my freezer. Oh yeah, love it. Fitness whole pound of bacon in my belly. Fitness whole bottle of whiskey in my stomach. Yeah, love the jokes, guys. I appreciate our quality fans out there of our live stream show. Hopefully you're using mayo if you're going to be cooking fish, though. Hellman's mayo, right? D Beers, appreciate those 1,200 stars. Dan Netto with the big 250. Thanks, brother. Jason Richmond with the 150. And appreciate y'all for the support. So with that, let's get into some questions. Quick questions. Looking to take my teenagers fishing, have no gear with us while we're on vacation. Any options? So you can always rent rods and reels. I think those are just random questions to our Facebook page. I don't think it's for the show. But you can rent rods and reels and go fishing with us on our 5-hour half-day fishing trip. And if you want to come along, like let's say your wife wants to come along and she doesn't want to fish, then there is an option as a ride-along on our 5-hour half-day and 10-hour all-day. A lot of people don't realize on our 5-hour half-day and 10-hour all-day, you can actually just ride along at half price if you're not going to fish. So that is the option as well. How deep of water on the 5 and 10-hour trip? So a lot of the information, the best information, is definitely going to be on the website. It's going to be pretty in-depth there. But the 5-hour half-day, we're fishing anywhere from 9 to 12 miles, fishing about 30 to 50 foot, catching gray snapper, porgy, sea bass. 10 hours, mostly 60 to 100 foot, fishing about 15 to 25 miles on lanes, mangroves, maybe a chance for a hogfish. Lots of the other heads and tails, like some vermilions as well. Any updates on new boat pictures would be great. So we don't have any new boat pictures because we are a little bit behind on that whole deal. It's definitely a long-term goal, but definitely a problem was at the end of last year, we had that opportunity to expand to Don's Dock, and we jumped at that opportunity. Plus, on top of that, at the end of last year, interest rates went from like 4 to 12%. Actually, for commercial loans, it went from like 4 to almost 18%. So it made it really, really difficult to pay 4 times the amount of interest because of those interest rates. But interest rates should hopefully be going down from everything I've seen, and that's still a long-term goal of getting a new boat. But business opportunities come up, and we have to jump at them and remain nimble and flexible. So it's definitely on our goal. It's on our long-term plan list. Is it going to happen this year, next year? I don't know, but it's definitely the intention to happen sooner than later. Definitely want to keep growing the fleet for sure. Have the strong currents subsided offshore yet? Yes, definitely a lot better towards the second half of July and into August. We're still having the occasional time where some current pops up, but it's more current heavy. It was more current heavy there towards second half of June, beginning of July. It's calmed down considerably since then, for sure. So current's not quite as bad as it was, to answer the question. Next question, what do we got here? Is there any docks that are public that are allowed to fish on to catch some snook in the morning? So our dock at Hubbard's Marina is the only dock inside Johns Pass where you're always able to fish as long as we're open. If The office is open. The dock is unlocked. There's no gate across the dock. You're welcome to walk on our dock and fish as long as we're not actively loading or unloading on a trip. As long as we're not actively loading or unloading, you can definitely fish off our dock and catch some snook. So that's an option. Down at Don's Dock, our other location, sometimes you can fish down there, but generally not in the morning because there's multiple boats there fueling up. It gets a little chaotic. The fuel hoses make it challenging, right? So people go down there and fish, and they set up a tackle box, a cooler, a bucket, and then a fishing pole, and then we have to drag fuel lines down, and it gets in the way, and we don't want to push anybody's tackle off the dock. It's just a little bit of a tripping hazard as well with the fuel lines everywhere. So Don's Dock is not suitable for fishing as much as Hubbard's Marina is, as long as we're not loading actively or unloading actively. So you can always fish off our dock as long as we're open and the gate is unlocked. Don's Dock has to be open. It's very, very slim times can you fish down at Don's Dock. Plus, really, the current runs really, really strong down there. So it's a little easier at Hubbard's Marina, to be honest, as well. What is a typical setup to bring on one of your trips? It depends on what trip you're going out on. Each one of our fishing trip pages on our website has tackle suggestions for sure, so I would definitely check out the website. But if you have an idea of what specific trip you want to go out on, I can help you out. We do have plenty of group trip options as well and private charters. They asked if we have an option for a group of 10 or more. We definitely have the Flying Hub 2, the Hub. Both can do those private charters for you, or we could put a bunch of people on a big party boat for you as well. So a lot of options there. Good evening. Can you tell me why you can't... Wait, can you tell me why do you can't paperwork, boat information, can't be put on a card like a driver's license, instead of having to bring your hard copy all the time? Not understanding the question there. Very hard to understand. So you have to have a hard copy license for boating for sure. You have to have a hard copy permit for sure. So I'm not really sure about the question there, but if you want to try to alliterate it, we'd be happy to try to help answer it as well. When will the sand dredging begin at the pass? That is the $1 million question. Literally, we got $1.55 million standing by, ready to rock and roll, and we're just waiting and waiting and waiting for T's to be crossed and I's to be dotted, and it's really, really frustrating, the wait. So unfortunately, one of those things, hurry up and wait. We don't know. It could start next month. It could start this month. It could start a year from now. So hurry up and wait. Unfortunately, the ball is kind of in the city of Madeira Beach and Army Corps, DEP, NOAA Fisheries, or NOAA Shorelines, a couple other departments kicking the ball back and forth trying to get this done. Our city manager of Madeira Beach is doing a good job of trying to push the ball down the field, but it's one of those bureaucratic nightmares that's kind of holding up the sand situation for sure. Do you need a license to fish off the dock? Yes. If you are fishing from our boat, you don't need a fishing license because on our boat, you're covered under our fishing license. If you're fishing off a dock, a pier, a bridge, a jetty, if they don't have a paid access and a bunch of signs saying you're covered under our pier license, then you need a license to fish from any pier around the area. But most of the time, they have a license to fish on the pier that covers you, you have to pay to get on that pier. Like, for example, the Skyway. You don't need a license to fish out there because you're covered under the pier's license, but you do have to pay to get out on the Skyway. That's how they pay for that expensive license. Still giving away free sand? Yes, we got plenty of free sand if you want to come on down and grab some. Remember that, come hurricane season, unlimited sandbags. It is hurricane season, but real hurricane season starts kind of September 1st, it seems like. Mid-August, September 1st. Hope to see you on the 22nd. We look forward to see you as well. How far south do you fish? Sarasota, Naples, question mark. We fish pretty far south. It depends on the trip. Some 39 hours get definitely pretty far south. We fished as far south as Naples before on a 39-hour. We used to do Tortugas trips back in the day. We had a 72-hour Tortugas trips So we've fished pretty far south as Fort Jefferson, which is off of Key West. We fished pretty far north as well. So been to oil rigs on our boats as well. So lots of different trips in the past. Right now, though, we focus on that 39 and 44-hour trip. We fish about 70 to 100 miles from Johns Pass, sometimes southwest, sometimes west, sometimes northwest, or a mix. And it depends on the time of year, what we're targeting, and what's kind of open for harvest as to dictating where we fish and why we fished there. Let's see here. We saw your address, Chris, on the swag pack. We will get that out to you very soon. Thanks for signing up there and being a watcher of the show. Speaking of giving away free stuff, we should probably give away something else, right? We gave away the swag pack. Let's go ahead and give away one of these trips. We got to give away a 10-hour all-day for 2 and a 5-hour half-day for 2. Let's go ahead and give away that 10-hour all-day first. Let's see who the lucky winner is of our 10-hour all-day. Steve Taylor from Palmetto. Congratulations, Steve, on that win of our 10-hour all-day trip for 2 guests. We still got our 5-hour half-day and 39-hour trip to give away, so stay tuned, y'all, for that. Remember, you got 5 minutes or less to claim your free trip by texting us at the phone number at the bottom of the screen, your full home address. Let's see here. Lobster season, is that something you guys participate in with trips, or is it more for the Keys? You could definitely get some lobster around here, but it's not something that we have a really big, robust fishery for, and I don't know of anybody that offers lobster fishing trips around Tampa Bay. Now, can you get Florida spiny lobster here? Yes, but it's more of a go out there and go diving at a big ledge or a group of ledges and go hunt for them. But you can definitely get them. It's just one of those things that we don't really get heavily in our area. It's not really a heavily frequented area for lobster season, but I would say the Keys, Miami area, Southeast Florida, Southwest Florida is going to be your hot spot for the old lobster fishing, and literally hot right now. Water's pretty crazy. Question: I'm going to be trolling for grouper when gag grouper season opens up. Is it true bright days? Is it true light bright days or clean water stick to whites and chartreuse colors, and darker days stick to dirty water, darker colors? Yes, 100%. We actually talked about this Saturday on a radio show. Typically, it's a redhead white body, or if your water is clean and clear, you're sticking to like white or chartreuse. Really, white works both dark and clean and clear. So white, redhead, white body, dark water or clean water. But most of the time, clean water, you're going to use lighter colors, chartreuse, and the more lighter, I like more natural color patterns. Whereas darker, dirty, murkier water, you're going to want to use the root beers, the darker colors, the blacks, the watermelons, the more natural shadings, but darker colors, basically. Let's see here. My husband is on the 39-hour. Do you think the sturgeon moon will make fishing better? I have no idea about a sturgeon moon. Is that happening right now? Sounds cool. Let's see here. Best hair cutting days, did it say? I remember seeing that somewhere that has something. Oh, cutting hay. Oh, best hay cutting days, according to moon phases. So apparently it is a sturgeon moon. I didn't know that was a thing, but I would assume right now we're on a quarter moon. So quarter moon phase doesn't have as much of an impact on the fishing as, like, say, a full moon or a new moon. I would say moonrise plays a big part in it. If the moon's down all night, it sometimes can make the daytime bite better. If the moonrise is late in the night. Sometimes it really picks up nighttime fishing once that moon comes up. So it's all about timing. And remember, moon phase is just one of those many variables that go into fishing, and really one of the very many variables that will dictate whether or not you're going to be catching fish. So don't get too tied up in one of the variables for sure. All right, what size leader line are you using at night on the 39-hour, 40 or 60? Right now, I'd be going as light as around 50 pound, just because you might see a red snapper. We might see some big muttons. You might see a nice scamp. If the bite is going well on the mangroves, which it has been, definitely 60 pound gets the job done. 50 pound gets the job done. If you're not getting bites and you're using real heavy tackle, then you can go ahead and beef it up or beef it down a little bit if you want, right? So if you start with 60 pounds and you're not getting as many, or you're not getting the quality action that you want, then you can bump your leader size down. But definitely a good idea to start a little bit heavier, especially with some of those bigger fish open for harvest. Have you been able to repair the AC at the studio? Yes. It is nice and cold in here tonight, thankfully. We've also fixed up the AC, or at least put a Band-Aid on the AC at the main office at Hubbard's Marina, which is nice. And definitely at the Florida Fishermen on the boat, the AC problems have been non-existent there as well. So all our AC problems at this point are pretty much down. So super happy that we're ready to rock and roll AC-wise, because we need it. It's pretty hot right now. I saw your video about trimming sardines to make a sardine plug. Is it the same for cigar minnows, or do you brine the cigar minnows as well? No, I wouldn't cut up the cigar minnows as much. So when you cut a thread fin, we trim the tail, we trim the head, and then we trim the belly a little bit to give us a nice rectangular, long, skinny rectangle. The cigar minnow is already kind of long and skinny, right? So for a cigar minnow, I would just cut the tail and then cut the head, and that would be your best bet as far as trimming up a thread fin. A cigar minnow while fishing. Let's see, what other questions might we have as well? If you win a 39-hour trip, can you use it in red snapper season? The winning trips, the trips you win, are not supposed to be used during red snapper season generally, because red snapper season is pretty hard pressed to get spots. Normally we're pretty sold out, and it's pretty busy. But this year we have lots of room here on the 39-hour trips. So yeah, you could probably get away with using one of those free trips during red snapper season if you gave me a call, for sure. Regarding the light loads, how many are required for the 10-hour to sail? It kind of is variable, but I'd like to see 17, 18, 19 people on a 10-hour trip. But we'll go with as many as 16 on a 10-hour, 15, 16. It kind of depends on the fares, right? All full-paying adults is different than a boat full of seniors, or a boat full of kids, or other variety of mixtures, right? Because we have different customer types. Seniors get 10% off. Kids are 50% off. We have regulars club members that get up to 50% off. So lots of different customer types. So it kind of goes into we will leave the dock even losing money sometimes, but we can't leave the dock losing a ton of money, right? It is a business, so we put our customers and our clients' fishing friends' experience first. So I want the trip to go more than you do, trust me. So if it's a little bit of a slower day and we don't have as much interest, sometimes we'll even go out with a load of people that is even losing money, right? Because we want to try to make the guests happy. But it is one of those situations where the goal is to obviously at least break even. And some of those lighter loads is definitely a losing proposition for the company, but it keeps momentum, it keeps our guys working, and it keeps our guests happy. And the goal is hopefully you'll come back again in the future. So keeping momentum is the goal, and we definitely don't want to see any trips get canceled. What is the info on being a Regulars Club member? The info is on our website. It's definitely the best place to get all the information. If you go to hubbardsmarina.com, and on hubbardsmarina.com, scroll down under fishing trips, click the fishing trips tab. Under more info, you can see right here the Regulars Club information. And then once you click that, it'll bring you to this handy dandy Regulars Club page, which talks all about our Regulars Club and shows you the discounts on the trips after you become a member. So our our 5-hour half-day trip. Let me scroll in a little bit so you can see this. How big can we make it? Nice. So our let's see, top level club. So the top level club, the Florida Fisherman Club, is $400 plus tax. It gives you 50% off the half day and all day trips, and even the dolphin tours, and 30% off the 12, 39, and 44-hour trips. It gives you $50 off the 12-hour extreme trip and 20% off all merchandise in the shop. So some really good options there in the Regulars Club loyalty program. Look at this. So this is our top level club, the Florida Fisherman Club. 5-hour trip is $42 instead of $85. 10-hour all days, $69 instead of $140. The 12-hour night trip is $129 instead of $190. 12-hour extremes, only $349 instead of $400. 39-hour instead of $499 is only $349. So you save quite a bit of money. This one you save almost $200. So really, really good deals on the trips if you're in that loyalty program. But it's not a discount program. It's a loyalty program. So you got to go fishing a lot to make it worth it, right? So if you're fishing 10, 15, 20 times a year or more, it makes it worth signing up for the Regulars Club. And those clubs run on the calendar year, not on the day you pay. So if you signed up today, you would only have about a 4-month membership. They would expire. Our 2023 clubs expire December 31st of 2023. But if you're interested in signing up, I would suggest waiting till December 1st of this year. That's when we'll open up signups for our 2024 club memberships. So definitely some good options for you next year if you're interested in fishing more affordably more often. What is the best time for grouper, night or day? And is a knocker rig or sliding sinker the best option? So for a grouper, specifically, I would assume he's talking about gag grouper since he's going fishing the 5th of September. Gag grouper season is September 1st through November 10th. So we're going to assume he's talking about gag grouper. Gag grouper generally during the day is best. We do catch a few of gags at night, but I would say if you're going to ask about the best time for gag grouper, it'd probably be during the day. My favorite setup for a gag grouper would be a slip lead egg sinker on the main line, swivel, and then about a 4 to 5 foot leader and a single, maybe anywhere from a 7 to 12-aught hook, depending on the size of the bait. 80-pound leader is a good option, especially on offshore trips. Near shore, you might be able to get away with like 60-pound, but heavier leader is your friend when targeting those big, fat, aggressive gag grouper. And as far as bait goes, I would suggest a big pinfish, pigfish, squirrelfish, all good options for those gag groupers. So really, really good, fun fighting fish. You just got to get on them quick for sure. All right, let's see here. What other questions do we have? What's up, Kyle? Thanks for tuning in. I'm wanting to know if we schedule a private charter, when is the last availability to shark fish? I can't handle the heat, and I want to go fishing with my husband. I would say the last availability to shark fish would be kind of up to you, but we would suggest doing it earlier when the water is warm. Water is warm is going to be your best chance to get out there and catch a shark. Once the water starts cooling down, there's less sharks in the area. We still have a lot of sharks in the area when the water's cool, but definitely a little bit more larger sharks and less quantity, more quality when the water's cool. When the water's cool, we have those big tigers. We get occasionally a mako. You might see a great white even. But this time of year when the water's hot, we got the big hammers. We got some big tigers. We got a lot of the black tips, the spinners, the bonnets, a variety of different sharks, bulls, lemons, you name it, we've got them right now. Whereas cooler months, mostly coastal-wise, just a few really big species as far as cooler months. Gag grouper, again, is September 1st through November 10th. What is your favorite fish to catch and why? Definitely, hands down, mangrove snapper is my favorite fish to target, catch, eat. They're really, really fun. Inshore, or the first like 80 to 100 feet, gray snapper or white grunts is the most prolific, really easy to catch, super white meat, super mild, good eating fish. Once you get past about 110 foot of water, you stop seeing those gray snapper, and we start to see vermilion snapper kind of take the place as the more aggressive, most readily available fish. But mangrove snapper start to become more prolific in greater sizes as we get deeper. We have a lot of mangrove snapper in this time of year, even at the dock, but they're smaller mangrove snapper, 10, 12, 13-inch mangrove snapper. Once we get out deep, that's when we see those really big mangrove snapper, and they're just so much fun to target and catch. They're super smart. They're much more tricky. The red snapper are just like such a dumb, easy fish to catch. They'll bite anything. They're just really, really stupid. Red snapper are easy to catch for the most part. When the bite's on, when there's a lot of them down there and the variables line up, we generally catch quite a few of them. Whereas the mangrove snapper are a lot smarter, a lot more leader shot. You need a lot more of a stealthy. You just basically need a little bit more luck and experience to get after those mangrove snapper with consistency. Whereas red snapper, much less consistency or luck is needed, right? Just right place, right time. Basically, any bait will work well. Let's see here. Dan Netto, appreciate those 500 stars, my brother. Joe Freetig, what's going on, man? I'll see you next weekend with a big 1,000 stars. Appreciate you, my friend. Brian Eakins, and then Joe Freetig again with 500 stars. Thank you, Joe. Appreciate everybody sending the stars tonight. Getting a lot of stars. That definitely helps us out and helps us to continue to do great shows. So let's see here. We gave away our 5-hour half day, we gave away our 10-hour all day and our swag pack. It's time for our 5-hour half day trip for 2 lucky winners. Let's see who the winner is of that 5-hour half day. Carlonda, congratulations from Evansville, Indiana. Carlonda, congratulations. You got 5 minutes or less to claim that free trip, so make sure you claim it within 5 minutes to prove you're watching live. All right, so let's see, what other questions do we have? How far back do you troll lure on the 39-hour, and are you using a trolling weight or a planer? That is a good question. It depends on the lure, right? So if you're fishing a lipped plug like a Nomad DTX or a Rapala X-Wrap, you can fish them pretty close as 25, 30 yards. You can fish them as far back as 150 yards. So lipped plugs doesn't really matter as much. Skirted plugs like a surface jig or a dredge, they want to be in different areas of the wake, and that kind of comes with trolling experience and knowledge and just trial and error. And some days they want it on the edge of that white water. Some days they want it in the white water. Some days they want it up on the outrigger dancing on the surface, right? So it depends. It's a good answer to that one. It depends on the lure. It depends on what your fish you're targeting. And it depends the size and shape of the head and profile of the body of the lure you're trolling. So it can get pretty dynamic and advanced very, very fast for sure. But The overall thing that we recommend is trolling those Nomad DTX minnows, those Rapala X wraps on the 39 hours. They work pretty well. Just be careful because those lip plugs, you got to know what you're doing or they can become dangerous. You kind of want to take your rod out of the rod holder, point your rod tip at the lure as you retrieve them back in. If you don't know what you're doing, if it's your first time, they can be extremely dangerous for sure. So want to point your rod tip at the lure as you reel it in so it doesn't come popping out of the water and really hurt someone. So make sure you're careful if you're trolling those lipped plugs, but they do work really well, and then it kind of takes out the guesswork, right? We don't need the trolling weights or the planers if you're trolling a lipped plug either. It's just straight to the plug, so it makes it even easier. You need a planer if you're trolling a spoon, and the cast or the trolling weights. We don't really use those super often. I don't like them personally. Unless I'm pulling like a Yozuri Bonita at a high speed. But that's not really the style trolling we do on the party boat. So you don't really have to worry about the trolling weights, in my opinion. Saw mahi-mahi multiple times today on the 10 hour. Is it better to chum with heads and tails rather than feed them squid and fill them up? Yes, 100%. The heads and tails are your best friend. I always like this time of year making sure I have a little bait cup full of tails somewhere handy. If you see those mahi-mahi, the tails float into the water real nice, and they kind of stay up in the water column. They get those mahi excited, and they don't feed the mahi. So it kind of gives you the opportunity to get those mahi excited and throw a lure at them. And I always like to throw them a little gotcha plug. Little 7/8 ounce or 1 ounce gotcha plug works really well because you can kind of side cast them or underhand cast them, get away from the boat, let them sink a little bit, and then reel them really fast back to the boat. And a lot of times the mahis will kind of attack them, and it makes it real fun. All right, let's see here. What other questions? Do we have another question?
We have a couple, but
yeah, let's get one more question in here before we get to this. This won't take too long. Let's see. Can I throw a flat line off the bow on a 39 hour? Normally during red snapper, no, because we're a little too busy. But right now, these lighter load trips, like today's trip left with 22, they could slow pitch jig, they could flat line, they could do pretty much whatever they wanted because 22 people on the Florida Fisherman is no one. It is wide open, so you could definitely get away with more flexible fishing styles now that we have such light loads. And we've got a 39 hour coming up here, like I said, August 13th, a week from today, has like 15 people on it. So super light loads, some really good opportunities to get out there and capitalize, if you will, on lighter loads and good fishing. All right, so with that, we want to get into our little spicy meatball we talked about earlier. So I got a phone call this past week, from an unknown and unnamed person, and basically told me, hey, clear your schedule Monday because some things are going to happen. And I was like, what are you talking about? And basically, I'm hearing that we're going to have a huge shakeup in the federal fishery. Don't really want to go too much into it because I honestly don't know the ramifications specifically because this is going to be super far-reaching. This is going to have really potentially far-reaching effects on seasons, on bag limits, on allocations, on basically everything that's been happening at the federal fisheries level for the last 6 years. So it's going to be really interesting how tomorrow shakes out. And we're probably going to do some live videos tomorrow afternoon that you're going to want to stay in tune for and pay attention for. That meeting occurs tomorrow at 2:30 p.m. So we'll have some more information probably around 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Depending on what else comes out, if someone starts letting the cat out of the bag early, I might jump the gun a little early myself. but I'm trying to be a good player on the team and hold this a little closer to the vest because I was trusted by some trusted sources to be a part of the conversation early, and I don't want to betray that trust. But we could potentially see everything change pretty quickly, and potentially in a good fashion in some ways. It depends on how you look at it, right? It's going to be substantial, and essentially, the long or the short is there was a major oversight, and a lot of people are going to lose their jobs. A lot of people are going to get fired. A lot of people are going to get laid off, retired early. It'll be interesting to see what happens around this, but potentially some of the problems that we're facing, like for example with Red Grouper, we saw this thing happen where all of a sudden, we talked about it before, right? Where we're loading, the example I used was loading a truck with bricks. Is we were historically loading, let's say the quote is 100 pounds, and we had 5 fishermen, and we had 5 fishermen loading a truck with 100 pounds of bricks, and each one of the bricks they put in the truck was 4 pounds. So it was easy to tell how long it took those 5 guys to put 100 pounds of bricks into a truck with 4-pound bricks. They could carry 1 brick at a time. It was pretty easy to tell how long the season should be and how big how long the fishing season should be open, because the effort was known, the minimum size limit was known, the average size was really well known. Well, along came this kind of mix-up, right? And they tried to improve things, and it kind of gave us a different outlook on things, and it constricted the season for Red Grouper. We saw Red Grouper season go from 12 months to 6 months this year, 12 months to like 7 months. It was open till July 20th. Potentially, we might see that go all the way back to 12 months. We might see a lot of things change. Gag Grouper, I don't think is going to get a lot better. I don't think it's going to have a big effect on things like Amberjack, but potentially things like Red Grouper could go night and day different. So, scary. Triggerfish could change. We could see a shorter season on triggerfish. We could see some issues with lane snapper. It's going to be really, really interesting, because what's even crazier is this huge proverbial fly in the ointment is going to come out tomorrow afternoon, right? And they're going to announce it tomorrow afternoon. And then the very next week, a week from tomorrow, I'm supposed to be flying to Austin, Texas for a National Marine Fisheries Gulf Council meeting. So the Gulf Council folks are going to be just absolutely outraged. Everybody's going to be yelling at this Gulf Council meeting. It's going to be probably the most epic cluster that there ever has been. And I'm kind of excited in a weird way to see. A lot of people are going to be on the hot seat on this one. So a lot of people are being facetious in the comments. I think it's going to shake out for the better in the long run, because Congress and the Senate is going to be pissed, and they're going to come in, they're going to shake things up, and I'm hoping that we'll be able to be on the ground floor and maybe be a part of the conversation on how to shake things back up. So I'm staying positive and trying to remain positive, but it's been a tough road the last couple months, right? We had our Sea Fire program shot up and taken out back and murdered by the Mexican Gulf Charter Company. Big shout out to those guys for murdering our data collection improvements in the Gulf, which was super frustrating. And then we're working on restanding that back up, and then this happens. But this should help us stand our data collection program back up even faster now. So that'll be nice to get Sea Fire stood back up more quickly. And it will show those folks that were adversaries to improving our federal for-hire data collection how important it is. Because now we're all going to be stuck up a creek without a paddle because of some folks' short-sightedness in getting rid of that program. So it'll be funny. It'll be funny to see how it shakes out, but we're staying positive, and you should too. But stay tuned tomorrow afternoon. We'll be the first to let you know as soon as we hang up from the phone call and figure out where the chips fall. We'll keep you up to date. So very interesting stuff. I mean, all the charter captains in the Gulf of Mexico, all the recreational fishermen in the Gulf of Mexico, anybody that fishes in federal waters should be staying tuned tomorrow afternoon and through the day. I mean, groups like CCA, the American Sportfish Association, the Congressional Sport Fishing Association, I mean, their heads are going to explode tomorrow. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy. This is going to be like one of those things where there's like a Senate hearing probably in D.C. this week because of this. So stay tuned. It's going to be wild. With that, if you want to learn more, tune in next week when we can talk about it, and we'll dive deep into it. We'll be diving deep into it probably this week in a few videos as well. We'll have some videos up on the Captain Dylan Hubbard page. Some of this more political stuff I try to keep off the Hubbard's Marina page, so make sure you check out the Captain Dylan Hubbard page on Facebook and Instagram. On the Hubbard's Marina side of things, we have all the social medias. So Facebook, YouTube, Trovo, Twitch, all that. You can find Hubbard's Marina on every social media. Captain Dylan Hubbard, that brand, I guess you could call it, is only on Facebook and Instagram. So that's the outlets, the Captain Dylan Hubbard Facebook page. A lot of people confuse my personal Dylan Hubbard page, which I don't really even look at. So go to the Captain Dylan Hubbard Facebook page or the Captain Dylan Hubbard Instagram page. That's where we're going to be putting out a lot of that information because we probably won't be running a lot of it through Hubbard's Marina since it's pretty heavy data information wise, and not everybody who watches our Hubbard's Marina Facebook page wants to see all that stuff. So it'll be more to the Captain Dylan Hubbard page. So stay tuned to that. Make sure you check it out. Make sure you give those pages a follow for me. I'd appreciate it. Also, supporters after show. If you want to join us for the supporters after show, we're gonna talk a little bit more about this and be a little bit more open since the supporters after show isn't public. So a nice little loophole there. So join us for the Supporters After Show if you're interested in learning more, and appreciate everybody who is a part of our supporters group. Appreciate all the stars senders tonight. We had a lot of them. Anthony Barnes with 200 to close us out there. Dan Netto with a big 500 too. Appreciate you, Dan. Thank you all for all the stars tonight. Thank you for the supporters for being a part of it. Tune in tomorrow afternoon to hear more about the old proverbial fly in the ointment, or the poop hitting the fan tomorrow. It's going to be pretty wild. It's going to be pretty wild. So, at least in my world, it will be. So, hopefully you guys have a good night. Hopefully we'll see you soon. Remember, August 27th, Bass Pro Shops, 2 p.m. August 25th, Final Friday, 6 to 9 p.m. And Final Friday has grown a lot. Final Friday, now we have live music. We have a pub crawl. There's going to be photos with pirates. There's going to be a tiki bar party. Caddies has a big party. Delosis has a big party. Bamboo Beach has their own live music and band. We have the big crawfish boil. It's going to be a good time. So Final Friday is growing a lot. It's getting better and better every Final Friday. So hopefully we'll see you out for an event. And hopefully we'll see you out here on the water soon. Remember, every Sunday night right here on the Hubbard's Marina Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube channel, we do our live stream show. Don't forget to catch the fitness forecast this week on Fox 13. It's going to be interesting. I'm a little nervous for it, but that should be fun with Tony Sudoku. And then also, of course, our Friday Fishing Report on Fox 13, our Saturday morning Real Animals radio show, and our Sunday night live stream show. Y'all have a good night. Tight lines, and let's find out who won that 39-hour trip for one lucky winner. Don't forget, if you're too busy to go fishing, you're just too darn busy. Let's see who won that 39-hour trip. Lucky winner is Tracy Jones from Southern Illinois. Congratulations, Tracy. You got a 39-hour trip for one. Hopefully, we'll see you guys soon at Hubbard's Marina. Come find out why we're the #1 fishing charter in the country. Come find out for yourself. See why. And don't forget to follow Hubbard's Marina on all the social medias. Check out the Captain Dylan Hubbard page on Instagram and Facebook. Hopefully, we'll see you out in the water soon. And, yeah, come see why we're the best. Have a great night, y'all.